something about that mentality in an entrepreneur that's willing to take the big risk, big reward. I put it all on the line. Like what happens is you get into this business where you just compete on price,
right?
Or you get in this business where you compete on service. And when you compete on service, you have to be in front of people. People want to see you. I try to never complain. I try to never be sad. I'm always happy, like, because anything that I complain about, I look at it's like disrespectful to somebody that actually has something to complain about. Everybody is looking at it as how do we be more productive and work less. I want to work less, no work more. AI is just allowing people to do routine stuff, but the voice adds the last line before a human has to get involved. So customers are always still going to want that human touch. People are going to want it. You're not going to put a driver on and have AI talk to him the rest of his life.
Yeah, we won't do a podcast with AI,
No. Yeah. Not yet.
David, I'm curious if you could like walk us through like why you started Smith Cargo. Like what was like the inspiration behind that? Like were you always like interested in trucking and logistics? And like
I accidentally got into it. I just randomly a guy was in trucking and he was killing it, and I know him, like, man, this guy's doing it. This can't be that hard. And
if he can do it, I can do it.
Yeah. So I looked at him like, I've been in sales my whole life, and he was in sales. He was a salesman in a trucking company, and he ended up starting his own little thing. And I'm like, dude, he was crushing it. Like I'm like, man, I'm going to do this. And I had a car stereo shop, and I had a Cellular One franchise. Like there was in 1987, 88, 89, like cell phones started becoming big. And I was I got one of the first Cellular One franchises. I had a little shop, in Lighthouse Point, and it was like a car wash, and they had 2 bays, so we built car stereos, and a guy owned the car wash, and he let me open up the car stereos. So we were building mini trucks and car stereo systems, and so I said, let me see if I can get a cell phones in here. And I'm like, so Bell South and Cellular One were the only 2, so I went to Bell South. No chance. I went to Cellular One, and I learned what I said wrong at Bell South. So when I went to Cellular One, I was prepared. So like I went there, and they said, no, we can't do it for all these reasons. So I go, okay, let me go Fugazi these reasons, fix them. And I went to Cellular One and like completely sold them bullshit. And they gave me the franchise. I said, okay, here you go. And so I started selling cell phones, and then I went to him and saw what he was doing, and I'm like, man, this is easy. Let me go do it. And I actually worked with him for like 6 months and realized like it wasn't that easy. And then I just started hitting a couple things, and then they got a divorce, and because he was making so much money, he was living the life while his wife was wondering what he was doing, and she caught him.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, the whole company's splitting up, and I had to leave and go do it myself. And I could have went and worked for somebody, or I could have done myself. And I'd always been in business myself really and done it. So I said, dude, I could do this. And talked to a few customers. It's different now. Back then there was more customer loyalty. It was, there wasn't a lot.
What year was it?
This was 1995.
And that was the beginning of Smith Cargo?
That was the beginning of Smith Cargo.
And how old were you?
I was 25.
25?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I built it, and I still remember doing I hit my first 500,000 a month of revenue, and I thought I was a cash cow, and I was going to be billionaire, and then I get the P&L, and we're barely making money. I'm like, I don't understand. And and he says, well, you keep hiring people, and you keep hiring salespeople. My CFO was like, you can't hire. Look, every time we hire somebody, you pay them $100,000. We have to make another 10 grand, and like, you just hired 4 people. That's 40 grand. We would have made 40 grand if you didn't hire them. And I'm like, well, I can't grow if I don't hire them. And it's a problem with like trucking and logistics. It's like your margins are so thin, there's no room to hire. So like to get into organically and not have investment capital and not have to be funded to fund the loss for a while is like, it's a hard business. And,
it takes time. It just takes time. And you have to hire the right people, because if you hire the wrong people, then you're just spending money on them and they're not getting you a return.
I can't tell you how many salespeople I hired that I thought they were going to crush it, and 3 months later I hadn't put a pound of freight on a truck.
Yeah.
It's insane. I'm like,
what would you say, what's the best thing to look at for hiring a salesperson to to do a good job on that?
I mean, that's a great question. That's like, if you could solve that problem, you'd probably put it on an app or something and make some money, because like salespeople are the best presentation they give you is the day you hire them. You know what I'm saying? Like they're salespeople because they can convince you to hire them when they suck.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But they can't go convince somebody to give them freight.
Yeah.
So it's like, to find salespeople, what I did. So I got lucky. And I had some good salespeople, and I went after the LTL salespeople. Like that's what my niche was always LTL. So I went after the LTL salespeople. So I would just go into an account and be competing for the business. And I'd be like, who's your favorite rep? Who it is. So I ended up picking and choosing reps, and I was always good at like convincing people to come work for me.
You just like reached out to them, or how?
Yeah, well, I would have the customer, like I'm really good at building relationships. So I would go to the customer and I'd take him to lunch and wine and dine him. And I'd say, hey, what rep's good? That hustles, that makes money. He goes, man, this guy's really good. So all right, let's have lunch with him, invite him to lunch. He'd come to lunch. I go, how much you making, man? He'd be like, I'm making good money. I go, what, like 65, 70? He goes, yeah. I go, what if I paid you 140?
Yeah.
They're like, what? I'm like, what if I doubled your pay? Would you consider coming on board?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I'm like, okay, well, now I know you're interested. What do I really need to pay you to get you on?
Right.
We'd settle like around 90.
Yeah.
And then they would come on. And so I asked my customers that I had, like, who's good? Like, tell me who's good. And I pluck good people, and that's how I found them. I didn't just like put ads in and hire because, I would just go pluck good people in certain areas. And that's how I always hired.
So those customers that you had, they basically had those salespeople from just a different company.
Yeah, because I would go in and I'd be selling my service, which the service I had is I would take partials from Florida and go to California Friday to Monday. That's where I started. There was a company called KTL that did it, and I thought they did a great job at it. So I had some customers we were doing truckloads for, and we were picking up LTL. We were going in and giving our bill of ladings, putting third-party bill to our company on it, and then sending the LTL carriers in to pick it up. So there were like 6 LTL carriers that we were using. So I would go in, and if they were using Consolidated Freightways, I'd send Yellow. If they were using Yellow, I'd send Consolidated. If they were using both, I'd send Carolina. So I would pick and choose and make sure I didn't go in and give them back their own business.
Right.
But I would send another carrier in and take the business from them. So I would go in and say, hey, who's your rep at Consolidated? Who's your rep here? Who's your rep there? And I just start stealing reps and building a little sales team. And then in 2007, Watkins Motor Lines was sold to FedEx, and I was doing business. I had a lot of the reps were friends of mine, and we were doing co-selling because I would go Friday to Monday to California, and they couldn't do that. Yeah. So they would be like losing that freight. So I started learning, hey, I would go golf events and I would go with customers to their events. And I said, listen, if you get that freight, let me know, turn it over. And they would introduce me to new customers because they would rather me get it and just do that than have them go find somebody else. And now they're losing other business. So it was just a friendly, protect my customer. I'd rather see Dave get it than anybody else. And so when they sold, I got the main guy to come. He brought 27 reps with him.
Oh, wow.
So I instantly opened up from Tampa down doing partial load to ride. We call it load to ride everywhere in the country.
Yeah. You brought on 27 reps?
I hired 27 reps.
I'll
never forget. I went into my CFO and I go, listen, here's the list. I'm gonna hire all these people. He goes, we'll be out of business. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, you can't do this. We'll be out of business. Which goes to show you don't ever let financial legal run your business. We'll be out of business. I'm like, no, we won't. We'll be the biggest in Florida. He's like, if you hire these people, look at how much money this is. We'll lose money. I go, we will not lose money. Day one, they're gonna put on freight. They're gonna pay for themselves day one. We're gonna make more money. He goes, it never happens. And I said, I'm telling you. We'll make money. We will. I went toe to toe with him. He goes, you're making a big mistake. And I said, no, I thought the mistake was hiring you. That was a mistake. I was telling you before, I put on 27 reps and I opened a terminal in Clearwater. They all started on Monday. On Friday, our terminal was full.
Wow.
I had a 24-door cross-dock terminal. It was full. I had 12 trailers in the door that were full. Wow. I mean, we would get freight from huge companies, Home Shopping Network. We would get trailer loads of LTL from them, and I wasn't even set up with them. I'm asking the sales rep, well, are they going to pay me if I bill them? Like, don't worry about it. I'm like, they don't need my insurance. They don't need anything. Yeah, they don't need nothing. All they need is me telling them to ship with me. And it was true. Like these big companies that if you went in and tried to get the business, you would go through red tape like you can't believe. Yeah. But Watkins had such amazing relationships with every customer. And because FedEx bought them, like I'm not using FedEx because they were always rivalries. If you bled Watkins, you're Watkins. You hate FedEx. If you were FedEx, you hated Watkins. So they do this buy-up. I get the benefit of it. So the first full, we doubled our profit the first month.
Wow.
And I went into my CFO. I'm like,
Hey there, amazing listeners. If you're enjoying what you're hearing on our podcast, we need your support. It will only take a moment, but it would mean the world to us. Please make sure to hit the like button on this video, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to share with one of your friends that would enjoy our content. Your engagement helps us reach more people and bring more awesome episodes to you. Thanks a million, and thanks for being part of the podcast community.
And it's like,
what were you saying again?
Yeah, what were you saying again? Like I always took huge risks. Like that's the amazing part is I put it all on the line. I play poker too. I play like high stakes cash poker and like I put it all on the line. Like
Yeah.
it's like something about that mentality in an entrepreneur that's willing to take the big risk, big reward.
Yeah.
Right.
I
And
mean,
I just-
we all take risks as,
Yeah.
as entrepreneurs to begin with, but
Yeah. And I had nothing to lose then. What was I going to lose? Like, I don't have anything.
Yeah.
I'm living paycheck to paycheck, business to business. What am I going to lose? Like, I'm going to have to go get a job. Like, okay. Like, I want to get this thing growing. And then we did that. And then I opened up a terminal in California, opened up a terminal in New Jersey, and we just started growing. I started hiring. They knew Watkins reps there and they knew Watkins reps there. And,
Were you buying the terminals or were you leasing?
no, just leasing them.
Leasing
Yeah,
them?
just lease them, and then I would find in Tampa we had our own drivers, but it was really I had a owner operator who had 10 drivers, so I never like had my own trucks and drivers.
Okay.
I always outsourced that shit.
Okay.
Outsourced it, gave it to owner operators, like they would do the
So you would
contractors.
outsource, like say you put a trailer together with all the partials, you would outsource an OTR driver to take it?
Yeah, we would book the line haul and broker the line haul to a line haul carrier.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I had trucks
That's
too.
how you kind of grew your
I
brokerage?
had a lot of trucks, but like it wasn't enough to service it. And I didn't really want to send my trucks to California because like it's hard to make money going to California and back.
Yeah.
You know, you're going far, you're getting way less per mile. So we would try to focus our trucks in the Southeast and Midwest corridor, or we would go from the Southeast, we would try to go to the Midwest and then go over to New York, New Jersey, where we consolidated freight in the New Jersey back down to Florida and get our drivers home. So we would try to all stay in that area, and we would end up with, $5 a mile round trip. Like,
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. What you do on the back calls? But you guys,
we would call C.H. Robinson and Echo and Command and Coyote, and that's how I had relationships with all of them. That when I went into lean and sold in 2018, went full time into lean, I'm like, I haul your freight for 20 years.
Right.
Let me put your back office people in my office in Columbia. So I had that trust already built up
Yeah.
because I had these relationships and I had done it. And when you're and you guys know anything about freight, like back soliciting is everything. Like I think there was some the other day, someone was telling me there was an owner operator on an app and he had the broker and he was trying to cut somebody out and they were on the chat. Like they want to cut people out. Like they want to go direct for no reason. I used to say, like, people will go direct to a shipper and cut a broker out for less money
yeah.
and a longer time to pay. Like the shipper pays in 60 days and they'll pay less money, but they want to go direct to the shipper. I believed in doing business with brokers. Like I would rather half of the business I did when I sold was with brokers.
okay. But the other half was
The other half was direct shippers in Florida.
Yeah.
So, which, I controlled the Florida market. I had every shipper in Florida. So nobody could come in and penetrate the market because I had it, and and we crushed it. And then I would run my trucks out. I would get back hauls from brokers unless we got them to New York or New Jersey. Then we would take our line haul back. We would get them back to Florida is what we wanted.
When you were running your trucking company, the brokerage, was all your staff in America, or that's when you started?
So no. So what happened is they were until I met, and I know Robert Cadena. He worked for me in like '97, and he left and started his own company, and then I met back up with him and he told me what he was doing and we said, what can we do together? And I couldn't believe he had people in Colombia. I'm like, what? And so I had people in Tampa that we would send a trailer and pick up all the LTL. I would take what I want, and what I didn't want, I would give to the LTL carriers as an LTL brokerage. And Robert ran the LTL brokerage because that's what he did in his company and in Colombia. So I realized what he had in Colombia, and I was losing money on this lost leader business because you can't pick freight up from a shipper, bring it to your dock, give it to an LTL carrier, and make money. That just can't. There's no margin in it. But I service it because what I didn't want to happen is I got a shipping guy there, and you got to give this to the FedEx and give this to them, and then this is what I want. I just want it all. I don't want nobody in there. Put it all on me and I'll deal with it.
Yeah.
And then it's good for them because they get one bill from me and there's no reways or anything. If I would go into a shipper and go, listen, you get reways and all that with LTL, I'll eat it if I get it.
Yeah.
You will not get it. Like you will get one bill, what it says, and I had a rate tariff and everything. It was our light tariff. And so I saw what Robert was doing and I'm like, shit, this is amazing. Let me move that whole team down there. And so I turned the whole brokerage over to Robert and basically gave it to him as a franchise and said, here, you make it work. I'm losing money. You can have it. I'll take a percentage off the top. You have the rest, and immediately turned it profitable.
ePay Manager, powered by OTR Solutions, is a back office automation and carrier payments platform that revolutionizes brokerage back offices with their proactive invoicing workflow, a centralized portal that gets you out of your email. Learn more about ePay by visiting epaymanager.com or text ePayFC to 80483 to see what they can do for your brokerage.
So
What year was
Robert, what's that?
What year was that?
2014, 13 and 14. So he took over all the LTL brokerage and he worked it. And then it worked so well with all the people down there. I started saying, what else can I send down there? So I just started, I never hired after that. The only thing I hired in the States was salespeople. I never hired again. I'm like payables, collections. Robert, can you get me these people? And we would literally get them in one day. If you're hiring in the US, you'd have to put an ad, you have to interview 10 people, you'd have to offer them a job. They would come, and then half the time they weren't showing up for the job, even when they said they were going to start.
Yeah.
It's like, you said you're starting Monday. I know, but I got another job. It's Monday morning. You're supposed to be there. I didn't expect the call. And so I just started putting it was so hard to get good people and hire people here. I just started hiring everybody there. And then randomly we had a couple clients that realized we were there and were like, hey, give me some people. And I'm like, what? And then I realized it was a business, and I put a business plan together. I did some research. I had a friend that was in that business. He went down to Colombia with me, and I said, hey, I'm going to launch this. And we launched it, and it was tough in the beginning. It wasn't easy. And then all of a sudden it took off and started getting adoption, and it started to prove the concept. And then we just grew.
So at that time when you started Lean Solutions, but you still had your brokerage.
And it was working a little office in the back of the brokerage. And when I sold in 2018, I'm like, it's funny because when we put the company up for sale, we told them we had an office in Colombia. Yeah. But nobody wanted it. Nobody wanted anything to do with Colombia. They didn't want the office in Colombia. They didn't want to buy it with the office in Colombia. So we went through a process. I realized that, and the investment banker said, this is going to be a problem. This is going to stop you from selling. So I'm like, all right, let me spin it out. So I'm like, listen, Robert, I'm going to spin this out. You go run it. I'll buy you out. I'll buy you out because I'm going to sell anyway. So I'll buy you out of your brokerage. So we bought him out. We basically bought his franchise back. He went out, became president, CEO of Lean. And I funded it with like minimal money, a couple $100,000. And he went out and started it. He still worked in our office, but he was in the back, almost in like a closet. And he ran it. And then I sold in 2018, and I sold Friday and showed up on Monday to work at Lean because we had moved out when we sold.
When you sold the company, did you have to like still kind of work at that company?
No, they wanted me gone. They said they don't want no mistake who owns the company. When we buy a company, we want the owners gone.
Oh, wow. And then you said you also listed up, just curious, kind of how do you list like a trucking company? Where do you go to list?
Well, no, we hired an investment banker.
Oh, investment banker.
We went through a process with an investment banker. Yeah. I mean, originally in 2016, we went through a process and it failed. We actually almost were selling to XPO when they were making tons of acquisitions. And then they bought Conway. And then they said all acquisitions are on hold. We just swallowed a gorilla. We got to digest before we can buy again. Right. So we had to. So in that process, we realized that the Colombian office was going to be a problem because they were saying it was a problem. Yeah. And everybody they were getting LOIs from and were saying we don't like this Colombia thing. So we said that's when we spun it out in 2016, and then we went back to market in 2017, but the market was bad, so we ended up selling in 2018. So it took us 2 years to get the company sold. Okay. Which was good because we were doing like 30 more million in revenue and another billion in EBITDA, and so we ended up getting more money.
So who did you end up selling it to?
We sold to private equity.
Private equity?
Yeah, private equity guys. Yeah. So they came in and bought it and paid us, and it was a grueling transaction because it's they say, oh, we'll close in 60, 90 days. It's 6 months. Yeah. It's nonstop diligence. Everybody, it's grueling. And then
things can go wrong really fast.
Yeah. And they take focus off your business, and then they deal fatigue you. They get you to the end, they nickel and dime you. And then they close, and then they go back and clip you on working capital adjustments. Like they have their whole thing they do. And if you're not experienced in it, like it's painful because what you end up selling for, you don't end up getting that. And they have their whole methodology where they do it. Yeah. But I mean, they pay the money, and the private equity guys and they got the money. Like they paid me. Yeah. They gave me a nice.
That was your first time kind of selling a company?
That was my first baseline wealth. That was really the first time I actually had like more than $1 million in the bank. Because I spent my money. I lived good. Yeah, I spent my money. I made $1 million a year, but by the time you pay taxes and you spend it and it's money goes fast, Yeah.
What was the first thing you did once you got that paycheck?
The first thing I did, I bought a Richard Mille.
A what?
Went to Vegas, a party, and bought a Richard Mille watch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I bought a Bubba. Yeah, and I went to Vegas. They delivered it with like security guards.
And you did what?
I went to Vegas. We went to Vegas on a party. That's like everybody on jet. We partied in Vegas and, and bought a watch. Yeah.
That's sweet. Yeah.
It was fun. And and then I realized, okay, I got this money, but it's not enough. Like it's not enough. Like I'm what I do. I know what my lifestyle costs me, and now I'm going to do better because now I got more money. I'm not downsizing and getting conservative. Like I'm going to go bigger.
Yeah.
And I got 4 kids, and I got to take care of them, and I want to set them up right. And when I did all that, and I paid off all my debt, and I paid off all my mortgages, and like it was debt free. And okay, and now if I put in wealth management, I'm going to get like a quarter of what I need to live.
Right.
So like,
Gotta do
I'm
something
like,
else.
shit. That's why I went into Robert and Lee, and I go, listen, we got to blow this up because I need to make like another $1 million a year.
Yeah.
Like, my soul, like I'm not making no money. He's like, and I did the math. I go, we need 10,000 bodies. He goes, that'll never happen. I'm like, yeah, it will. We're going to get to 10,000. And like, and we were making like, I think we were making like, Lee was making like 200,000 a year, something 180 or between 100 and 200 and paying Robert.
Right.
And he's like, and here I come saying I need to make $1 million a year. And Robert's like, we can't, this ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
And he's like, and I don't want to do that. That's too much stress. Like you too fast and aggressive. And I'm like, all right, listen, I'll slow down, but let's do it. And it just happened, man. We just, everything went right. We had the right people. And when you add in Jeff, last night you met Jeff.
Yeah.
You add in
Get the right
Jeff and
connections.
me and Robert, like we just click, and everybody, every relationship we build and grow, and that's what made us good. And we're all like, our integrity and trustworthiness is the highest level. Like everybody knows we don't fuck around, man. If we say we're going to do it, we do it.
Yeah.
We are who we say we are. We don't hide nothing. And we built it, and we went down to Colombia 100 times.
Yeah.
Because we closed an account, right? We'd say, back then we didn't close one account unless they went to Colombia. So we would drag them down to Colombia, kicking and screaming. They would come back smiling.
The customers,
customers.
Yeah.
And because it's, it's a beautiful country and it's fun. And we would close them, and they would come back. We'd get their office off the ground. And then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And everybody's remote.
Yeah.
And we had 1,000 bodies when COVID hit, and Robert moved 1,000 bodies working from home in 1 week.
Wow.
I think maybe we had 1,300 bodies, if I remember. And he had them all working from home in 1 week. And he went out and bought every laptop in Colombia.
Dang.
He literally went out and bought 1,000 plus laptops. With almost every laptop that was in Colombia, he bought, and we had teams setting people up at home to work before the country even shut down. And he comes to me, tells me what he's doing, and tells me what he needs for laptops and everything. I go, there's no way they're shutting down. Like that.
Yeah. It's going to pass. Yeah.
It's never happened. It can't happen. You cannot have the country shut down. It will not happen. He's like, Dave, I got ties in the government, and my ties in the government are telling me they're closing this country down.
Yeah.
In the next week, people are going to be mandated to stay home.
Yeah.
I go, are you sure? He goes, trust me. And I wouldn't have believed it. I said, listen, I think your guy's wrong. There's no way, but I don't want to, I'd rather you be right than me be right.
Yeah.
I'd rather you go do what you do and us be wrong than me be right and not do it. And so he went and did it and didn't even tell our customers. He had everything set up, and then sure enough, they shut the country down. And our customers are like, what happened? And it's on the news. Colombia shuts down. Like, what are they going to do? And because Colombia shut down before the US. And Robert said, don't worry, we have it handled. Everybody's working from home.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
And then they shut the US down, and everybody had to work from home. And then when we can't, and we panic. We're like, what's going to happen? Like, our whole business is done. Like, what's going to happen? Because you think country shuts down, what's the brokerage is going to do? Like, you have
at that time, everybody really thought it was the end of the world. And
you're going to move some important stuff, but not everything's going to move. You're not going to be moving, bricks for people who can't go outside and build nothing.
Yeah.
So we did the right moves. We went into crisis mode, and we managed it. And the people that, wanted to close down, we ate it. We took some hits, but then when we opened back up, still working remotely, we crushed it, because companies were like, we have to save money. And people were working from home, and the people didn't want to work because they were getting PPP money and getting unemployed. And so they were like,
just chilling at
people didn't want to work,
buying NFTs for $1 million. And stuff, what's the monkey? The
Bored Apes.
Yeah.
I bought one of those.
Did you? How's that doing?
I think I got it on one of my profile pictures on social media or something. That's all I got out of it.
That was an interesting time, because the PPE money and all the COVID money that hit, it was just a boom in the whole economy and everything.
And we went from 1,300 bodies to 6,000 bodies in 2 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we, skyrocketed, and then we went through a process, and in 2020 we sold a piece to private equity and took a nice liquidation event. And then 2021, we sold another piece and we have 2 private equity partners and gave them control. Together, they got control of the company. And then we took it to 10,000 employees. And,
Wow.
and now, Robert and I are founders, but, they have, they have great executives there and brought it in because, when you're founders and you make money, like, you probably don't work as hard as the person that needs them, now wants to cash out. So
Right.
private equity likes to incentivize executives to deliver big results, and it's hard to incentivize us.
Yeah.
I mean, I still work hard and I do it, but like they want to give the carrot to the people that are really going to chase the carrot and deliver big results. So,
Yeah.
so over time, they put a good management team in there. Robert's executive chair now. He basically still there and helps and does what he does, but they got a good C-suite in there managing the business, and I still own a piece of it, and so and then I was kind of bored, and this AI thing started popping up, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what is this? I missed the .com. I missed the Bitcoin. I'm not going to miss the AI,
Yeah.
especially when I'm hanging around with nothing to do.
Yeah.
And it fits good with the whole customer base I've always had. So, so I went out, I figured it out, went back to Lean, said, hey, here's what I'm going to do. And they then realized, oh shit, we need an AI plan too. So they initiated an AI plan fast.
Yeah.
Because I told them, like, this is coming fast. Like, we need to be ready. And so they did, and they have a great AI plan, and I have my voice AI agent, and we're working together, and it's pretty cool stuff. So
What a fascinating story.
Yeah.
It's,
it's my story, so it's not as fascinating to me as it is.
No, it's
I mean,
definitely
there's so much crazy stuff. It's funny, like, because Jeff always tells stories too, and I've known Jeff 24 years. I've known Jeff. I've heard every story he's ever said like 10 times.
10 times, yeah.
But he always comes up with a new story. He's always done. Last night we're sitting there, and sure enough, he comes up with this new story, and I'm like, a new story about Paul McCartney and some girl he had. I'm like, I never heard that story. He's like, what? Never heard that story? Like, I'm like, you in 24 years and you still randomly pull a story out of your ass out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And
So Jeff was involved with you with the Lean Solutions, right?
and the trucking.
And the truck.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. So
Yeah.
you and Jeff for
Jeff was in charge of customer entertainment. So
Nice.
he's, he came from the LTL industry too, and the LTL industry is wine and dine.
Yeah.
That's what they did. And so we just brought that philosophy to every business, and just, if you're out of sight, out of mind, you have to, and COVID kind of hurt that. Like, and I remember in 2022, when we started hiring salespeople and scaling, and Kevin Nolan said it best. He said, it's a race to the face-to-face. He said, that's who's going to win the business. And I said, you're exactly right. And I adopted that philosophy, and I told all the salespeople.
What does that exactly mean? Because that's what I was going to ask you. Do you still think that's really important right now? Because from my perspective, I kind of see a lot of it as just like whoever's the cheapest, that's kind of where we want to go, instead of like whining and dining and all.
So the reason you have that is you're doing that. You start getting out face to face and building relationships, it won't be so cheap anymore.
Okay.
I agree.
You build the people want trust in freight. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, price is really important, but they also want trust. They want to leave. They have a built-in margin they could pay, and they would rather pay a little more and know their shit gets delivered when it's supposed to.
Yeah.
You don't
But
lie
they
to
can
them.
pick up the phone and call.
Right. And you
Yeah.
have assets. You have the ability to deliver. They call me anytime. I mean, I've answered customer calls anytime ever. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I can tell you shit I was in the middle of. I said, hold on,
Yeah.
answer his call. I mean, that's how you do it. And what happens is you get into this business where you just compete on price,
Right.
or you get in this business where you compete on service. And when you compete on service, you have to be in front of people. Like, people want to see you. You have to be in front of people. And with Lean was the same thing. Like, I told the salespeople, like, we have to get in front of people. And we went and hired like 12 salespeople just to go out and get in front of people, because
Yeah.
we had tons of customers. We had 400 customers. And really our sales were Nick and Hunter and Dave Bowen and Drew. We had like 5 key salespeople, and Ryan, and like we built, a huge company, 200
Yeah.
million revenue with like 5 salespeople.
Jeez.
So like, and they were making a fortune, they were crushing it. I had to change the comp plans every 3 months, because I'd be like, okay, if you hit these numbers, this, and we're
Yeah.
paying a percentage. And one time I look at Nick, and he's getting like a $200,000 commission check, and I load him, and he's already spent the money in his head. I'm like, Nick, I'm not paying you that, bro. Like, you ain't getting it. Like, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news.
Appreciate the business, but we got to change the
I said,
structure.
like, you can't make more than everybody else. Like, and we don't know, because we didn't know what the numbers were going to be. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, we're like, okay, here's the bar. You put on $1 million a month and you get, you get 6% of the revenue. So all of a sudden Nick put on like $3 million in business in 1 month and he's getting this huge check. And I'm like, I'm sorry, man. We got to change it. Like, you're gonna make $1.4 million this year. You can't do that. 700 your cap. So it's like he like and it kept scaling back and back and back. And then the last 2 years has been brutal. And I used to tell him, listen, you enjoy the money you're making. This isn't every year. This is an anomaly, and it's gonna fix and it's gonna smooth and level out. And so what happened is, we've been in a freight recession, and so they haven't been making that kind of money, and they haven't grown like we used to. And they're still doing well and doing good, but when you make this 1 year, you don't want to make less the next. And it's been tough for all the sales guys because that's how it's been. And listen, it was tough for us, but we still grew, and so I can't complain at all. I always look at like when I try to never complain. I'm trying to never be sad. I'm always happy, because anything that I complain about, I look at it's like disrespectful to somebody that actually has something to complain about. Because I mean, listen, you guys have you've been to Poland and all over the world, and I've been to downtown Fort Lauderdale to see homeless. Like, there's always somebody suffering and has no reason to suffer. And so I just never complain and suck it up. And I tell them, listen, it's going to smooth out, and you're going to make less. And our customers were getting destroyed. I'm like, listen, you be lucky you're not getting destroyed like them. You should be like, thank you, I made this. Not like I make less. No, you should be glad because our customers are getting destroyed.
They're losing.
They see it. So they understood. And the good thing about all those sales guys at Lean is most of them grew up in my house. They were my kids' friends, and they all grew up in my house. And they're all good, really good kids, and they listen. I'm saying they're coachable, they're teachable. And when you have kids that are coachable and teachable, you can help them. And so they all come a long way. I think Nick posted, he got a promotion on LinkedIn, and he used to drive an Uber, and he was called 5-Star Uber. That was his name in my phone, 5-Star Uber, 5-Star Nick. And he used to do these videos with his mom that were funny as shit. And bring back 5-Star Uber and come a long way. He got promoted. And but he's the kids, and that's who makes the business, and they're face to face, and their customers love them. I'm saying if they never saw them, they're just on a phone, it'd be about price.
Today's episode is also brought to you by Control Chain. Struggling to find loads? Control Chain offers a cost-effective solution for carriers to secure more freight contracts with reliable shippers. Plus, you get a free tool that automates tasks like managing order details, updating customers, and sending PODs. Say goodbye to spreadsheets, emails, and phone calls. With Control Chain, you can manage everything on one platform, from planning and execution to getting paid. Sign up at controlchain.com and start receiving loads today.
So
I was gonna ask, so Lean Solutions, basically most of it is in Colombia, but you guys have offices.
They're Colombia, Philippines, Guatemala, Mexico.
How big of a thing, I guess, is it in Colombia, to have that many people? Is it like a big? How does the government, I guess, or the whole country look at that? Because I mean, that's a pretty big.
So it's probably looked at more in the city. So like Barranquilla, I think Lean has 4,000 employees. And that's way more significant than Bogota, where they have 3,000 employees, because Bogota's, a major city. So in Bucaramanga, they have 1,000 employees. It's a little city. So it's all relevant to the population and the jobs available there. But in the last 5 years, Colombia has become a lot of people are putting employees down there. So it's way more competitive than we started. When we started, there were no jobs except for except for in the hospitality. And we would go into a hotel and they'd speak perfect English at the front desk. Like, how much you making?
Come here.
Want to work for a U.S. company? So,
it's kind of how it was too. I feel like Ukraine had a thing too, where a lot of talent was moving to Ukraine, but then it was just, there were so many people coming in and they started raising the prices and whatnot. I was like, is it even worth kind of doing it there?
Yeah, I mean, and time difference and everything. That's where I think Latin America did really well. Nobody was doing it the way you had a couple big boys doing it with the LTL companies on a process basis, like billing and stuff like that. But nobody was doing customer facing or dispatching or track and trace. Nobody was doing those low level roles in offices until we did it. We were the first to do it. There was nobody. We had 5 years of zero competition. That was, and that's hard part about this AI space. I'm hearing I got 20 competitors. It's insane. I'm scratching my head. What did I do? This is the toughest challenge. I'm glad I have the experience I have, because this will be the toughest challenge in a company I've ever had.
So can you go in a little bit about CloneOps and AI? What it kind of
it's we're the voice AI for high volume calls. email, text, and voice, and everybody's doing it, and everybody is looking at it as how do we be more productive and work less. So, listen, even me, I want to work, I want to work less, no more. I want it easier and less. And so like AI is just allowing people to do routine stuff and let you focus on more important stuff. And the voice AI is interesting because, in logistics, there's a lot of automated stuff and a lot of email stuff gets done, and the email automation's been there for a long time, and AI answering emails and stuff. There's a billion companies doing that too, but the voice adds the last line before a human has to get involved. So, our dashboard, when I went into this, I'm like, okay, I think anybody can build this. I think it's going to be easy to build. I don't think it's going to be special, the voice part of it. So how can I do it that makes sense? And I felt like I could build an interactive dashboard that made sense. So in our dashboard, you can see your AI agents at work. You can watch them work. We have sentiment analysis on the call, so they can detect if the call is going well or if it's not going well. So if you're doing some sort of outbound sales and you want the calls to actually connect and are doing well, you can filter those to the top. If you're calling a truck and you want to, the driver's angry and he's giving you, he's not giving you information you need, or he's not working well with the AI, you can filter those at the top so you can do what we call the live takeover. And then we have a button on there where you're watching the transcript in real time. It's going, and then you can interrupt the call and hit the live takeover button.
Wow.
So that's a differentiator that we have. And I think that instead of the call transfer, which I don't really feel is like optimal, because that's what you're trying to get rid of. You don't want people on hold. You don't want call transfers because you're losing opportunity.
Right.
So with us, you can watch the opportunities, you can interrupt it and take it over in real time, which I think if your customers and your carriers know that you're watching the conversations too, they'll just give you the information you need and they'll hang up. They listen, I really need to speak to Bob. Bob, I know you're listening. Pick up. You know what I'm saying? And you could do a live takeover. You're like, why are you messing with me? I'm busy. That's why I got AI talking to you. And it's true, because carriers will sit on hold for 5 minutes waiting for you to pick the phone up. You ain't brokerage, like you're on hold. Like I'd rather talk to AI and just find out what my pickup number is than wait on hold 5-10 minutes just to
That's true. And then sometimes you talk to a rep and he's not in the mood, and then you're like, you get pissed off, but AI will just get to the point and get it figured out.
And we don't hide it's AI. We say this is virtual. This is Bob's virtual assistant. Bob's busy. You just need your ETA.
How'd you guys come up with the name CloneOps?
So I always said, I used to yell on the floor at the brokerage. I was pretty rough. Like, you got 2 phones on your desk for a reason. Pick them both up. Why's the phone ringing? So I would always say, I just need to clone myself and I don't need none of you people. So I just thought like, we're going to clone every operational function.
Okay.
And so that's how I came up with CloneOps. Like, I want to clone all the operations, and I just said CloneOps. And I think name's important. I think like anything you do, a name's important. Like FreightCaviar is a name. It's not just some, your podcast. Like it's a name, and that's why I think people stick. It's like interesting. It's like, okay, how's Caviar? That's like not really, but freight is shit. Maybe caviar's fish eggs. But
I was telling that lady yesterday. She's like, Caviar reading. I'm like, he's selling black caviar in black market.
So it's a name. I think a name's important. And I think there's like 3 or 4 AI companies come up with that. They've come up with these names, and I can't remember their names. Like there was one guy at Manifest that was the main guy, and I'm like, what the hell's the name of his company again? So like, listen, Happy Robot guys did it great. Like you can't forget Happy Robot. Like, what I'm saying?
It's a really good name.
And listen, they've done a great job getting their name out there. They're crushing it. And I don't think I've talked to one person that they haven't talked to Happy Robot. Those guys are crushing it, and they're way younger than me and got way more energy than I got now.
You know what I noticed though? Like, so we do, like we have a trucking company, and what I noticed when our dispatchers do talk to AI, right now they know that it's AI. Like in the beginning, you kind of couldn't tell, especially with Happy Robot. But now it's the same voice, and I noticed the dispatchers are kind of getting pissed at the AI. They're like, just let me speak to a real person. And I'm like, that's what's happening is they're just going to now all these calls are just going to get transferred and bypass the AI. So what we're doing, why we have the live takeover is to be able to do it immediately, and then say, listen, we're going to call AI's going to call you back and track you. Like he's going to call you if your macro point's not pinging, you're going to get a call from AI. Where you at? Like if you're when you get to the shipper, like we're going to call you and ask you for your POD. Like I can call you, but my AI can too. You have to small talk with my AI. It's AI. Okay, AI, what do you need? I'm sending it now. You know what I'm saying? Like
those simple things, once you get used to dealing with people and they get used to it, they're going to adopt it. And then they're going to realize, wow, you know what, it is easier talking to AI than a grumpy ass, broker, a trucker. And they're just going to give them the information. I see all the transcripts from the calls we do. Most of them are okay. Like some of the issues we have is like the language barrier. But now what we do is if we tell a customer, when you put a truck on a load, if you know the driver's Spanish, if you know he's Polish, if you know he's Serbian, click that language and call in that language, because as soon as they call and say hola, or whatever language, hello, and whatever language they speak, they go, oh, hey, you know what I'm saying? And then they're not really thinking it's AI. They're so confused that you speak their language. That they're like, oh, what's up? And then you just say, where you at? And the funny thing about the language models is the foreign languages sound better than English. When you hear them in Spanish and foreign languages, it sounds better. Like, because English is so proper, you know what I'm saying? It's like, unless you're talking fast and slang, which it doesn't really do yet. It's very proper. So like we find that, so now we're testing it, and when they speak the language, they're way more cooperative, the drivers.
Like, even if they know it's AI, I mean, it's like they're speaking their language, which is like, they're already feeling better than having than speaking to a human that speaks English.
Correct. And feel better. And what we're doing now too is a lot of brokers want to dispatch trucks, and I get information from trucks, and so they're basically saying, listen, my AI will translate for me, so we can have our agent talking to a driver in Polish, and it's translating in the transcript to English. So now they can read it and see what's going on in real time, and they can communicate, and then they could chat and put in there and chat back to what they want to do, and send a chat, and it'll convert it to that language too.
Who's your like ideal customer? Who are you guys trying to go after?
I mean, the thing is everybody's going after the brokers. So I like to be very careful about what I say on podcast, because next thing I know, they're doing it. So, I mean, we have a lot of different industries. I think in the end, logistics for me will be about 20% of my business.
Okay.
We have tons of other industries. I mean, I have a use case of a personal injury attorney that does slip and falls and everything. And he has advertisements everywhere, and he has call centers taking the calls and trying to vet it. And we're implementing our AI, because if somebody's calling to see if they have a case and can I sue somebody, it's pretty easy. Like, what happened? What's your case? What's your name? What's your number? We'll have an attorney get back to you. And basically, like, these high volume personal injury attorneys are implementing AI to take all those calls, because people want to tell you a story.
Actually, I think started it. It's called Ouch Buddy or something like that. Maybe you heard of it. I think it's kind of the same thing. Ouch Buddy. It does AI
for legal, for people.
Yeah, legal for.
I mean, because it's a use case, right? If I'm in that industry, like I'm in logistics, that's why I started in logistics. But like I play poker with a personal injury attorney, and tell him about the AI company. He sees my shirt. He's like, man, could I handle all the calls I get by these people that, stub their toe and want to sue?
I was actually talking, I got a friend that does heating and cooling, and they're like, some of the people that pick up the phone, they don't pick up, and they're calling about an emergency, or they have I'm like, why don't you just use AI to answer your call, schedule the thing, put it on the list, and have people go out? That's a huge thing that that I think heating and cooling is a big business where AI could be used.
Especially if you like centralize, if somebody has a centralized dispatch or something like that. And I mean, we're there's so many use cases deployed in our platform. You can actually go build your own agent and manage. Like, you guys could go into our platform, you can open an account, you could build your own agent to do whatever you wanted to do.
Oh, wow.
So which is different from the other platforms, because the other platforms, you don't have that kind of controls. But in ours, you can change the prompts, you can change the name, you can change the voice, you can change the phone number, you can build you can literally go custom agent, and it'll start you right there, and you can build it from scratch.
Wow.
And you can build it to do anything you want it to do. You go to ChatGPT, you download prompts, you can fix it and tweak the prompts yourself. So anybody can get on our platform. It's like Bland AI. Anybody can get on our platform and build an agent. And deploy it and put it to work and use it.
David, like you mentioned, there's a lot of AI agent companies out there, a lot of competition. So, like, kind of wondering from your perspective, who do you think is going to win the AI race, and why, and how will this all look like in 5 years from now?
Well, we're going to win because we just win. This we do. All we do is win, win, win. I think it's hard to tell what this. I mean, in 5 years, I hope I'm on a beach somewhere in Europe. Not worried about it. I'm trying to build this in 3 years and sell it to private equity again. It's the pattern. It's shortened. It took me 25 years to sell logistics. It's like 5 years to sell. I'm trying to get down to 3 years on this one.
A year and a half.
I think it's going to be like the TMS. It's going to be saturated. Like TMSs, there's 150 TMSs, 200 TMSs. I think it's going to be like that. I think that there's going to be a lot of good players in the space. They're going to get in. It's sticky. People don't really have to change. I think that it's going to get, one thing I don't like about the model, and I'm trying to build it to where I don't suffer this, is I don't want a declining revenue model where I'm billing cost per minute. And then all of a sudden, cost per minute used to be 9 cents. Now it's 4. And my customer knows it. And my competitors are coming in and saying, listen, you're paying 25 cents. Their cost is 4. They're robbing you. It's kind of like the old freight days when you go in, you'd be getting this great margin from a customer, and then CH or somebody comes along that has these ridiculous trucks. And Coyote was the one to do it because they had all of the private fleets that would going backhauls for nothing, and they did a deal. I remember I had a customer who was shipping to Texas every Tuesday, and all of a sudden I didn't get that load. And I had the same driver doing it. He's like, hey, how come I didn't get my load? I don't know. Let me call him. He was doing patio furniture. He's still a friend of mine today. And I call him and go, well, dude, where's my Houston load? He goes, your competitor came in here and is doing it for $800. I was getting $1,400.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no way somebody's going from Miami to Dallas for $800. It's not happening. He goes, yes, it is. He picked it up and no problem. It's the second one I'm giving you. He goes, you actually missed the one last week too. I'm surprised it took you this long because the driver was off last week and didn't do it. And I said, there's no way. It's not possible. I go, who is it? And he sends me a picture of the truck. And I think it was like, the paint company or whatever. It was some private fleet that Coyote did a deal. They just took a percentage, whatever they got them. And he said, they can do it, but I have to ship it on a Monday or Tuesday or they can't do it. That's the only way they could do it. So he moved it up to Monday, and I'm like, shit, how do I compete with this?
Right.
And so I think that what's going to happen is the prices are going to drop substantially. It's going to get way less. So when I built this, I'm like, I don't want a model where I get it to 10 million of ARR, and then all of a sudden in one, boom, I got to lower it to 6 and do it again. Yeah. So I'm building like I'm building a model that it has an eventual, value to the dashboard and all the other stuff it does, to where we're not just billing a cost per minute and we're trying to add value. So I'm looking for other ways in our dashboard to add value that makes it a SaaS product and like a accessory to a TMS. Because a lot of the TMSs are not good customer facing. They have their, they don't fit everything you do. So our dashboard is going to be like kind of an accessory to a TMS with voice agent AI. And hopefully it's a product that people don't want to get rid of because they're working within it.
This podcast is also brought to you by Highway, the carrier identity platform that's revolutionizing how freight brokers fight fraud. Every day, new threats emerge, but with Highway's robust tools, you're always one step ahead. Last month alone, Highway stopped over 54,000 fraud attempts, solidifying its role as a trusted partner to over 600 3PLs. Highway stands as your shield against the threat of stolen identities, double brokering, data breaches, and more, ensuring that your operations are secure and your transactions are safe. So, if you want to focus on what you do best and leave the worries of fraud behind, it's time to partner with Highway. Visit highway.com now to book a demo. Highway. It all starts with carrier identity.
Yeah. So how is it like priced for now? Like how would you price?
So we have a tier pricing. So we charge a flat rate for a user. So we have a user cost and then a cost per minute. And our cost per minute's lower. We're not trying to, make our huge margin on cost per minute. We're basically doing a cost plus per minute and allows the customers to see the fluctuation in cost. We're not locking people into a 1 or 3 year contract and then saying, here's your cost. Yeah. I mean, I think people that are signing contracts, with these companies on a cost per minute are screwing themselves if they don't have an out in the contract that they can cancel it, because it's going to come down. It's already coming down. It's come way down. I mean, they were starting out at 25 cents a cost per minute. Now I think people are at 15.
Oh, wow.
So you imagine if you started a business at 25 cents, you got revenue, and all of a sudden now we got to go to 15 and then 10 and then 8. That's
why is that coming
depressing.
down? What's bringing it down?
It's just cheaper. And more people are doing it. It's competitive. You know what I'm saying? You got so many people out there offering the LLMs and the models, and they're getting better and better and cheaper and cheaper. So it's like this, it's like cellular, right? I got into cellular when I was selling cell phones in 1988. I was selling a phone in a car for like $800, $900 install, and the bills were $2,000 a month. Yeah. People were coming in, their bills are $2,000 or $3,000 a month. Yeah. And now I got, I can go all over the world with 5 phones on my plan for $49.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think the same thing's going to happen. And so I need to have a SaaS model that's an add-on to a TMS, that's an accessory that does more than just, this cost per talking minute.
It's funny about the phones, because the phones back then, I remember where it was like a certain amount of minutes you had per month, and then after 9 to something, it was free. I remember Verizon had
Well, they kept going better plans.
Yeah.
When I first did it, the bills were insane. When I first did it, we were building car stereos too. So we would have the fake phones like that we wouldn't hook up. People would just buy the phone from us and put it in their car so they could drive around like they were on the phone, flexing like I got mine, but that didn't work. They're like, can I just buy the phone and not hook it up? I'm like, I don't care.
As long as you pay me.
As long as you pay for the phone and install it, I'll do it. What do I care?
It's awesome.
Yeah. So it's, I think that's where it's going to go. But like in 5 years, who knows, man? I mean, I think in 5 years, people are going to wake up. Their AI is already going to done half the work. You're going to turn on your AI is going to answer your emails, answer your texts, and already made the calls you need to call. And then what's going to happen is it's going to say, hey, here's your to-do list and a priority of what you need to do right now. Cause this is the shit AI couldn't, this is stuff I couldn't get done. It's like having an assistant and all of a sudden you come in the office, you go, boss, I did everything, but this is stuff you need to handle.
Yeah.
And I think that's like what it's going to get.
Yeah,
to.
and that's where I think the name fits perfectly, like a clone version of me, you know, because I would love to have a clone version of me, honestly,
Same.
you know,
Yeah.
but that just better, that does the work, especially like paperwork and stuff that's like, you know, that I don't really want to
reaching out to your drivers, like
Yeah.
send some stuff over.
Yeah, and I think everybody's going to adapt to it and do it, and we're working on driver stuff too. That's going to be proprietary for owner operators and to where because I mean you got owner operators driving down, he's on the phone, he's trying to find a load, he's trying to get a ship billed, and they have these dispatching services that promise to do stuff and they take a percentage of the load, and I mean if a driver can have an AI assistant that can do a lot of that stuff, and there's different things, and so I mean there's a lot of opportunity out there, and like I said, I think logistics will be one of the smallest the industries we're in. There's so much bigger opportunity with these high volume calls. You look at there's just a ton of use cases, and we're 24/7. We on our websites, like always turned on. It's and that's the beauty of it. So you can be working at night answering stuff, and at 7 a.m. answering stuff, and then you come in and you can even like alert yourself what needs to be done. You can set it and say, hey, this isn't a fire emergency, you need to get on it.
Right.
So and AI is going to do that. It's going to get better and better, and then everybody's just going to be using AI. It's like when you went to the iPhone, right? You remember how many people just wouldn't switch to the iPhone that still wanted the flip phone, and like, I'm not switching. That technology is too overwhelming, and now people can't live without their phone.
Yeah, I remember my brother saying like, "Why would I have this brick, in my hand? I got my flip phone." And at that time, everybody wanted the smaller phone for some reason. They thought it was like the greatest thing ever. And,
well, you can just put it in your pocket and just carry it. But like, I think that's going to be the same adoption as like once they start using AI, once they start doing it, like AI is just going to consume their life, and it can be done.
Hopefully for the better,
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, it makes life easier.
Yeah. I mean, I think what's happening, especially after COVID, is everybody that's doing anything wants to enjoy life more. Like when I work, like enjoy life. What is that? I don't have time to enjoy life. I got to work. And now people make time to enjoy life. Like they make time to do it. Like, and they look for jobs that give them the time to enjoy life. It's not all about, people still like to make money, but I think money is less important to a lot of people now.
So how do you see the future at all? Like, if AI is gonna kind of take over most of the jobs, how are people just gonna enjoy their lives?
I don't think it's gonna take over most of the jobs. I mean, listen, if you're a call center in India and you're doing a routine task, you're gonna probably have an issue. But people are gonna adapt. Like there's gonna be exception handling. There's other functions. Like I was speaking to a client that's doing a pilot, and he's like, he was using one of the other competitors, and they were answering inbound calls, and he said it freed up 30 people. So I'm like, okay, what'd you do with those people? He said, I redeployed them. And he said, and I just didn't hire 30 more immediately. I still end up hiring. And I said, okay, how many people do you have added on to those 30 since you did it a year ago? He goes, I have 200 people now.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, okay, so you didn't downsize, you didn't lose bodies, it didn't replace anybody. It just allowed you to take those people off of those low-level mundane tasks that AI can do and put them on something else that needs to be done. And people are growing. I mean, these large brokers hire hundreds of people a quarter. You know what I'm saying? So I've always said with us and coming from the call center business and having lean and still having a vested interest in lean, we have 10,000 employees there.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, I will bet anything anybody wants to bet that this time next year, we have 12,000 employees. Maybe we don't have 15, maybe we didn't grow as fast, but you can have a recession that stops your growth. Anything can. So you're going to have something is going to affect your business all the time.
Right.
And this is just going to affect the business. We're going to adapt. We're going to evolve, and we're going to solve it.
And the thing is, like, AI won't build relationships.
It won't. It's not capable.
Wine and dine.
So and customers are always still going to want that human touch. People are going to want it. You're still going to have to talk. You're not going to put a driver on and have AI talk to him the rest of his life.
Yeah, we won't do a podcast with AI.
No,
I mean, I don't ever really want to do a podcast with AI.
I mean, that's what I think. So I don't think that and then on the flip side of it, right? If you can use AI to increase productivity to get business, now all of a sudden you're growing your business 2 times as faster. So you need people to replace that growth. So I think it's going to handle attrition. It's going to handle scaling. It's going to handle the excess growth you're going to get from the volume of AI. Like I have a doctor that does locums, and his guys make 150 calls a day, dials to talk to 2 doctors to try to get them to come into their program to do part-time work all over the country for doctors. And now AI, we deployed it. AI is making like 5,000 calls a day, and they're talking to 15 doctors. I mean, that's like 7x the productivity they're getting. They're closing more deals, and he's doing better. So like his company's growing.
You need AI in your trucking company.
I do.
You just need to call every single broker and tell them exactly what you do.
Yeah, well, I got to call every single broker and every single shipper and tell them, send me all the LTL freight.
Yeah.
Well, what you do too, I mean, AI can like target areas. If you have trucks in areas that are tough to get business, you just have AI call and say, listen, I have capacity in your area. I'm an asset-based trucking company. I have capacity in your area.
Yeah.
And, can I send you information and get set up with you and give you rates? Like, that's hard to do, but you can now do it. Now you can do it 1,000 people, you know what I'm saying? There's, if it's to the consumer, you have issues like, they have issues with robocalling because it's considered robocalling, but there's ways to do it to where you can use it to try to, use to your advantage. And then if it's somebody you're doing business with already, it's in your terms and conditions. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, it's, but I mean, there's so many use cases for it to help increase productivity.
Yeah.
That you can do it. And the best part of it is when you're calling on our dashboard, you could take the calls over. So what the doctor's doing, because he's slightly concerned about the medical company, because he doesn't want to like violate any robocall ruling, as soon as the doctor answers, he picks up and says, the AI says, hello, Dr. So-and-so. Yes, this is he. They pick up.
Oh, wow.
And now it's a human talking to him.
Right.
So like they can get around it because they're not letting the AI give the whole pitch.
Yeah.
But they're just, because the connect, it's like the predictive dialing back in the phone days. Predictive dialing would connect another call. So it's over there dialing, and you have your floor with salespeople. Every time you hang up, a new call's connected, and the timing. But you can't do that with one person, because all of a sudden he's in a call, he can't take another call. So, but he can watch the calls, and let's say his average is he deploys 500 calls in the scheduler, and he gets 1 doctor answers. Boom, he picks it up, and then another doctor answers. The guy next, the other guy picks up. So he's got 5 guys on the floor. So he's making 5,000 calls at a time and getting 5 doctors. Now all 5 people are busy. They shut it down. They don't make no more calls until they go. So like call connectivity is like huge for him. It's a numbers game.
So they're just looking at a dashboard all day long.
It's a dashboard that shows the call, shows the dials connected. It turns green if it's going good, and you could sort it. So the calls, when they connect and they say it's them, he has it programmed to say yes, this is he, or yes, this is doctor. And as soon as it says that, it cues it to the top, and it basically highlights in green at the top, and they just pick it up. Hey, doc, and most of them don't even know it's AI. Hello, Dr. Jones. Yes, this is Dr. Jones. Hey, good. I'm glad I got you. Glad I got a hold of you. Listen, I'm talking. We're looking for doctors in Houston. I see you did locums in the past. Would you be interested in it? It's paying double what it normally pays.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not AI making the sales pitch. It's AI making the connectivity.
It's interesting.
Because if you pick up and say, is this Dr. So-and-so? No, it's not. Wrong number. Like, you just wasted your time picking a call up. Wrong number. It says thank you and hangs up.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
David, thank you so much for the time. This was a great podcast.
That
I
was a
really
great
enjoyed
No,
it.
it was cool, man. You